You wake up at 2 in the morning because something brushes across your foot. You kick the sheets, turn on the lamp, and there it is. A roach. Big one. But you don't just see one. You see the shadow of another one dart behind the toilet, and another one on the kitchen counter you just wiped down an hour ago. You spent $240 last month on a spray treatment. The guy came out in a nice uniform, walked around for 12 minutes, sprayed some stuff that smelled like lemons and chemicals, and told you to call if the problem came back. Well, it came back. It never left. And now you're standing barefoot on a cold tile floor at 2:15 in the morning, and you're thinking, what did I actually pay for? My name's Bob. I'm 64 years old. I spent 30 years driving a beat-up white van through every neighborhood in this county, killing bugs for people just like you. I retired last spring. And I'll tell you right now, the stuff I'm going to show you today, the big pest control companies would rather you never heard. Not because it's dangerous, not because it doesn't work, but because it costs about $2 and it works so fast that you'll never call them again. This was never a secret. You were just never told. By the time this video ends, you're going to know exactly how to clear every last roach out of your home in 3 days or less. And you're going to do it for less than the price of a cheap cup of coffee. Stick with me. Because the best part, the part that really matters, I'm saving for a little later. And it's going to make you laugh when you hear what they charge for it. You think the spray kills them. That's what they want you to think. But here's what actually happens when you spray that stuff from the big box store or pay a guy to fog your kitchen. The roaches run. They scatter into the walls, into the attic, into the gap behind your stove where you never clean. And then they come right back out when the smell fades. You didn't kill them. You just taught them to hide better. You see, a roach is not stupid. It's been surviving for 300 million years. You think a little spritz of something that smells like a pine tree is going to wipe out its whole family line? No. The only way you win is if you make them take the poison back to their nest and feed it to every other roach in the colony. That's the part nobody tells you. So why doesn't the exterminator just do that? Well, think about it. If he comes out once, charges you $150, and the problem never comes back, what does he do next month? He finds another customer. But if he comes out every 3 months, puts you on a contract, auto bills your credit card for $49 a month, that's $588 a year, every year, for a service that's mostly just making you feel better without actually solving the root of the problem. I'm not saying every exterminator is a crook. I worked alongside some honest ones. But the business model, the way these big national chains train their guys, it's not built to end infestations. It's built to manage them, keep you scared, keep you paying, and the whole time, those roaches are still in your walls, raising babies, waiting for you to go to bed. I remember this apartment complex I used to service. 24 units. They had a German roach problem so bad you could smell it when you walked in the front door. That greasy, musty smell. The property manager was paying a company $400 a month for treatments. Every month. For 2 years. That's $9,600. And the roaches were worse than when they started. I asked him, what are they using? He showed me the invoice. The same stuff you can buy at any hardware store for $12 a gallon. They were marking it up 800%. I told him, cancel that contract tomorrow. Let me show you something. 3 days later, that complex was so clean you could eat off the floor of the garbage room. I'm not exaggerating. And the whole thing cost him less than $50 worth of materials for the whole building. Here's the proof you need to believe me. Roaches don't just live in your kitchen. They live in a nest. Usually inside a wall void, behind your refrigerator, under your dishwasher, or inside the hollow space where your cabinets meet the wall. The ones you see running across your counter at night, those are the scouts, the foragers, maybe 10% of the population. The other 90% are back in the nest, huddled together, eating each other's droppings, grooming each other constantly. That's their weakness. They are obsessive about keeping each other clean. And when one roach eats something, it comes out the other end, and the next roach eats that. They recycle everything. So if you can get a slow-acting poison into one roach, That roach goes back to the nest, grooms itself, gets groomed by its friends, drops droppings full of the poison, and within 48 hours, the whole nest eats it. That's the mechanism. That's the secret. You don't spray for roaches. You feed them. Now, this is the part they'd rather I didn't tell you. The $2 trick. You're going to go to the grocery store. Not a pest control supply house, not a chemical supplier, not a website that charges you $15 for shipping. Your regular grocery store. You're going to buy two things. First, a box of boric acid. Not Borax laundry booster. That's different. Boric acid. It's usually in the cleaning aisle or the pest control aisle right next to the mouse traps. Should cost you about $1.89. Second, you're going to buy a can of sweetened condensed milk, not evaporated milk, sweetened condensed milk, the kind you use for pies. That'll run you about $1.50. So a little under $3 total, but you'll have leftover boric acid for years. So the per treatment cost, about $2. Now here's the method, and I need you to listen close because the order matters. Do not just sprinkle boric acid around your kitchen. That won't work. It'll just make a mess, and your dog will sniff it and you'll worry. You're going to make a dough. Get a small bowl. Put in 3 tablespoons of boric acid. Add 1 tablespoon of sweetened condensed milk. Mix it with a spoon until it forms a stiff paste. If it's too dry, add a few drops of water. If it's too wet, add a pinch more boric acid. You want the consistency of cookie dough. Then you're going to roll that dough into little pea-sized balls, about the size of a BB, smaller than a marble. Now this next part is critical. Where you place these balls is everything. You're not going to put them out in the open where kids or pets can get to them. You're going to put them in the places where roaches live but you never see. Behind the refrigerator near the compressor. Under the dishwasher, along the back edge. Inside the cabinet under the sink. Behind the pipes. Behind the toilet where the wall meets the floor. Inside the gap between your stove and the counter. Pull out your oven drawer and put a few balls back there. Lift the corner of your refrigerator and put one underneath. The roaches will find these balls within hours. The sweet condensed milk draws them in. They eat it. And here's the beauty of boric acid. It's not a neurotoxin that kills them instantly. It's a stomach poison that works slowly. It damages their digestive system and their outer waxy coating, which dehydrates them from the inside out. It takes about 12 to 18 hours to kill a roach. That's perfect, because a fast-acting poison would kill the scout before it got back to the nest. This way, the scout goes home, grooms itself, the other roaches groom it, they eat its droppings, and by the 3rd day, you've wiped out the entire colony. I told you to remember the best part I was saving. Here it is. The pest control industry knows about this. They've always known. Boric acid has been used for over 100 years. It's in every exterminator's textbook. But they won't tell you, because if you do this yourself, you stop being a monthly customer. The national chains, the ones with the shiny trucks and the friendly uniforms, they'll charge you $250 for what I just described. $250 for $2 worth of boric acid and condensed milk. And you know what? Half the time, they don't even do it right. They spray the baseboards with something that smells strong, so you think they did something. But the real work, the baiting, they skip it because it takes time. It takes 30 minutes to roll those little balls and tuck them into all the right places. And a technician who gets paid by the job doesn't have 30 minutes. He has 12. So you get the spray and the invoice and the promise to come back next quarter. Let me tell you about a woman named Carol. She called me 3 years ago. Single mom, 2 little kids, renting a duplex. She was in tears. She said her landlord had sent an exterminator out 4 times, and the roaches were worse than ever. She said she was afraid to make dinner because she'd turn on the light and see them scatter. She said her little girl woke up with one crawling on her pillow. I walked into that kitchen and I could see them. Little brown German roaches, dozens of them, running along the edge of the counter. I told Carol, I'm not going to charge you anything. Just let me show you something. I went to my truck, got my boric acid and a can of condensed milk I kept for exactly this situation. I made the dough in her bowl, rolled the balls, Placed them in 11 spots. That was on a Tuesday. I told her, don't wipe those spots for 3 days. Don't spray anything. Just live your life. She called me on Friday afternoon, crying again, but happy this time. She said, Bob, I haven't seen a single roach since yesterday morning. Not one. And she never saw them again. She called me 6 months later to tell me she'd moved into a new place and she made her own bait the first night. That's all it took. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Won't this hurt my dog, my cat, my toddler? Let me answer that straight. Boric acid is toxic if you eat a lot of it. A spoonful can make a child sick. A handful can hurt a pet. That's why you don't put these bait balls out in the open like candy. You put them in the cracks and crevices where roaches travel, but your family doesn't go. Behind the fridge, under the stove, inside the cabinet hinge, inside the wall void where the pipe comes in. Your dog is not squeezing behind your refrigerator. Your 2-year-old is not licking under the dishwasher. Use common sense. And if you're still worried, put the bait inside a small plastic container with a hole cut in the lid. A yogurt cup works fine. Punch a 1/2-inch hole near the bottom. The roaches can get in. Your pets cannot. I've done this in homes with puppies, with kittens, with babies crawling on the floor. Never had a single problem because I placed the bait like a professional. Another thing you might be thinking, my exterminator says boric acid doesn't work on German roaches, or he says it's old technology. Let me translate that for you. What he means is, it works so well and costs so little that he can't bill you for it. Of course it works on German roaches. It works on every crawling insect with a hard outer shell. Ants, silverfish, palmetto bugs, you name it. The only reason an exterminator would tell you it doesn't work is because he wants to sell you the expensive gel in the syringe that his company buys for $4 and sells to you for $60. And that gel, it's often just boric acid mixed with sugar water and a thickening agent. Same thing, different package, 10 times the price. Here's what I want you to do this week. Go to the store tomorrow. Spend your $2.89. Make the dough tonight. Put out the bait balls before you go to bed. And then for 3 days, do nothing else. Don't spray, don't set off foggers, don't call anyone. Just let the bait work. On the morning of the 4th day, you're going to walk into your kitchen and you're going to see something. Not roaches. You're going to see maybe a few dead ones near the walls. That's the cleanup crew. That's the last of them. Vacuum them up and throw them away. And then you're going to smile because you just did what a $200 service couldn't do. You fixed it yourself. For $2. This is about more than roaches. This is about who controls your home. The pest control industry has spent millions of dollars on marketing to convince you that you can't handle this stuff on your own. That you need a professional. That you need a contract. That you need to be afraid. And I'm telling you, after 30 years of killing bugs for a living, the most powerful tool I ever used cost less than a candy bar. Common sense still beats marketing. Always has. Now I want you to do something for me. After you try this, come back to this video and leave a comment. Tell me what state you live in and where you found the most roach activity. Was it the kitchen, the bathroom, the garage? And tell me how many days it took before you stopped seeing them. I read every comment I can, and I promise you, your story is going to help someone else who's sitting there right now, 2 in the morning, barefoot on a cold tile floor, wondering what to do. Next time, I'm going to show you the ant trick that the big box stores don't want you to know. Costs about 87 cents, works overnight, and it doesn't involve any poison at all. You're not going to believe it until you see it. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss that one. Take care of yourselves. Take back your home. And remember, now you know what the Bugman knows.